Hello, Sylvia S. Johnson here. I'm working on applied exercise 6.1 in the Certified Learning Environment Architect course, in section 6. And the first part is about using the build boards. And so I printed off some build boards and I got ready to use them, and they were too small. So anyway, I'm going to just show you how my applied exercise came out working on the course General Chemistry 1004 that I need to be revising for this fall, which will be in T minus 31 days, I guess, from now. Anyway, the course is Gen Chem 1004 Fall 2017. The course begins on the day when the face-to-face class will be dismissed to see the eclipse. The first contact with the course that students will have will be a pre-semester message, so it better be a good one, because otherwise they'll drop the class and take something else. The students need to know it might be okay for them to go see the eclipse because they will not be meeting in my class, but I can't tell them to skip their other classes, but I do want them to know that they don't have to hang around because of mine. There must be an out-of-class assignment to cover the credit hour that we'll miss for that day. The Monday lab will be dismissed, but the Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday labs will meet. So it's kind of a complicated message because there has to be an undertone message, plus there has to be some urgency to it, and then there has to be a little bit of discriminatory sense to it that the Monday morning, everybody's off, and the Monday afternoon lab is off, but the Tuesday afternoon lab is not off. So the learning environment must be welcoming, but convey a sense that while the first day is off, there is an assignment due, but even though they're getting this message in the summer, the assignment is not due until the semester begins, which will be on the as advertised day, Monday, the 21st of August. Even though the face-to-face section will not agree. So first I just conceptualized the big deal was I've got here's the start of the class, and I've got this barrier where before which I'm not really supposed to be I'm not liable to present anything to the students, and yet I want to have this information that I need to get to them, and I want to take advantage of things about the system because I don't have any contact with them through any other means. I don't have any personal contact, and I don't have their phone numbers and that kind of stuff. So I have to structure some kind of learning environment where I'm going to take advantage of the system, and I'm going to get information to the students so that they're going to know something before the class starts about what happens on the first day, even though I won't see them on the first day. So I came up with this title for it. I decided to call it a pre-semester welcome. That way I can refer to it. And then I'm going to tell what the course is, Gen Chem 1004, and I'm going to emphasize the date, August 21st, so everybody knows it starts on August 21st. And we'll say the semester will begin with an out-of-class assignment followed by a student response in Canvas. The first class meeting will be Wednesday, August 23rd, 2017. Now these little red marks here are from my client meeting, so I'm going to come back and discuss those later in a second screencast. So anyway, I'm envisioning then that before the semester starts, there'll be this pre-semester welcome. It'll be short and sweet, but they'll know that they don't have to come that day. And then there'll be the second will be once the semester starts, there will be this out-of-class assignment. And I'm thinking I'm probably going to have a reading that they have to read the syllabus, and I would put a link to it. And I would ask them to answer a survey, probably something that's auto-graded, and have a link to that. So that's sort of my plan, and this is the conception of what I want to accomplish. So now I built this, and I realized you guys had said there's not going to be too many building blocks on a build board, so I thought my build board was going to have 3 building blocks, and when I ended up doing it, I ended up with 3 layers. But it was already drawn, so I'm just going to show you how it came out. But it's actually, there's 3 layers on the billboard that I'm going to show in the next page. From the bottom up, the model is what would need to be done I work out what would need to be done to execute the model tasks. So first of all, there's the professor, and there's actually several screens of tasks the professor needs to go through to get an email to the students before the semester begins. You don't just walk into your secretary and say, send it. At least not in my department. Then in the middle, I have what the student would need to do to be able to receive the email, provided the professor knew how to send it. So the professor now knows how to send it, and the student knows how to receive it. And then lastly, we have at the top what the system has to have ready after the student is finally looking at the email. So here is this bottom piece is really like build board number 1. And this one I thought was kind of like evidence because it was from data and forms and various information that exists in the semester, in the system. So the instructor gets a class list from within Canvas, and they're going to they have to find out the username and password. Once they do that, they have to do the Canvas login. If they know how to choose the course, they know how to choose the people, they know how to send the email. So, but if they're Canvas phobic, then all of these things here are just more impediments to the professor to actually bother to do this. The other thing I was thinking was, ideally, not all the students are enrolled at this point, so you should repeat this message at T-4 weeks, T-2 weeks, T-1 week, T-3 days, 2 days, and 1 day, so that even on the Sunday before, if somebody wanted to see that Monday class in the morning was canceled or, dismissed so they could go see the eclipse, that they could just go out and see the eclipse and not have to worry about my class. So anyway, that was the timing. So it doesn't have to be too burdensome because I'd like to be able to run it a couple of times at different points in the semester, the pre-semester. So anyway, that would be for the instructor. And then the instructor would be able to use the system to send email to the enrollees. So then we have the student's point of view. We want to get them some information, and the email directs the enrollees to Canvas login. And it's going to be, first of all, their email is on their SWOSU student account, not on their Gmail or whatever they use instead, for their regular email. So they'd have to know to check the student SWOSU account. And then there would be a message. When I presented this to the client, there were some other issues that came up, and I'll get back to that in a minute. And then finally, we would get to the Canvas login, and I wasn't sure if this was information or this is going to be evidence, because I have this feeling here that since I want them to do that survey at the end, that there's going to be something that documents that they participated. But anyway, to get in there, the student has to have the username and password. They would have to know how to choose the course. And then finally, after all this legwork behind the scenes, they would be able to read the pre-semester welcome and see what's going on. So also then I had on the third thing I looked at was some of the information detail. The course has a lab that is going to be dismissed on Monday, but will make up the missed work on the following Monday. And the body of the message contains information of what will happen in the first lab meeting. And so this was more just focusing in, I think, how you guys imagined the build board would be. There's just this one little interaction, and then all of this is what would be the prototype of what it all needs to say and be carried out in this information that's conveyed. And this would be a text file or some kind of text presentation in the learning management system. And my client had comments he made here, so we'll get to those in a minute. So that is what I took on to try to accomplish. And I see that I still have time, so I'm going to go ahead and do apply the 6.2, which is where we showed the build boards to the client, and I got feedback and I got insight. And it turns out that the client happened just in this case is my husband. He also teaches this class, but he's also my husband. And he is going to go see the eclipse too. And so I've been working diligently on getting a message together to let my class know that we're not meeting. And he knows he's supposed to be getting a message together for his class that they're not meeting. And so it was kind of helpful to him for me to have this ready to say, hey, look, I had to do this for my project. But by the way, isn't it clever that I'm getting you to think about going on Canvas and sending out an email to your students so that they know that they could be off that day if that they certainly don't have to hang around for your class any more than they have to hang around for mine, because the two of us are going to Missouri to see the eclipse. So anyway, but I was trying to picture out the point of this whole thing in the course, in the CLIA course, and what it's supposed to be. And I finally realized it's not about making the course. It's about figuring out how to tell somebody how to make a course. And so even though we've been in it and I've been in the role since I'm the client as well as the architect, I've been going back and forth. But this last assignment here with the build board really got me to feel like more that I was the architect rather than I was the client. And so then I made these build boards as the architect, and I showed them to somebody else that was he was a valid client because he's going to teach this course in the spring. And he also is going to see the eclipse. So I hope you go see the eclipse too. It's on Monday, the 21st. Anyway, so after I did that, here's the remarks. Okay, so I showed him the first page, which you've already seen straight up on the other side, and these were his remarks. He said that here, well, we're going to talk about the first class meeting. He said, just go right ahead and say the first face-to-face class meeting will be on August 23rd. But that there's a virtual class meeting on the 21st, but nobody has to show up to the classroom for that. And then he also felt that it was a good idea that the work that was going to be assigned, it was not work that they had to do in the summer, but that it was definitely work that would be within the semester, and that I should be real upfront about the due date, that it's not due on the 21st. I could make it due that following Friday or even maybe the following Monday, August 25th or August 28th. And when we would build this out, we would sort of set up, if something we set up a pattern for the course of, what is the length of time that things would be open and due. So that has to be thought through, whether it's going to be the Friday or the Monday. I'm inclined to go with after the weekend. So anyway, that was his remarks there. Now this is the second one. This is the three different ones. So here's the part that was about what the professor's role is. And he said, well, this was very tedious, but he felt that, it was a subroutine. Either you know how to use Canvas or you don't. And if you don't know how to use Canvas, then you need to be walked through all of these steps. But even if you did know how to use Canvas, there's like secret tricks you need to know, because you have to publish the course in order for the students to be able to see it. And not only that, you have to publish the course in order to use the roster. You can't send an email if the course is unpublished. So you publish the course, you send your email, and then you go back and you unpublish the course, and then you can work on it some more. But otherwise, if you try to send the email, it won't go. So that's a little tip for people even who know how to use Canvas. That's the little ins and outs. And then he was like, there's no way I'm going to have the whole course ready 4 weeks ahead of time. So this opportunity to unpublish was very important to him. So that was his remarks on the professor's role. And he did feel like there are some people in our department who are not real good at using Canvas, and they would need all these steps. Then as far as the students, he said it was a good idea. We were going to embed the link to Canvas in the email. It would be really nice. They could even have a login page that if you know how to use Canvas, click here. If you don't know how to use Canvas, click here. And it could even link to the page with the Canvas instructions. And then lastly, we wanted to convey a sense in the email of urgency, that you have an assignment in Canvas and that there's an incentive for you to log into Canvas and figure out how to do it and get on there and see what this message says. So he was real keen about the sense of urgency. And then the last one is the client resigned to the actual pre-semester message. And he said, oh heavens, don't confuse them. This is way too much information. And don't confuse the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday people with information for the Monday people. And just say that the missed work on Monday is going to be made up the following week. So lastly, I have here the value of the build board, and I see how the build board has various uses. I see that designing the environment is not the same as making the environment or actually doing the building. And I see